Hey guys, welcome back to Wise Kracks. Bill Krackomberger here, my co-host Jon Orlando, and we're bringing in this week Jeff Nadu, who hosts a great podcast, The Sit Down with Jeff Nadu. He also just talks sports betting stuff, and I love some of his content. So I'll just tell you right now, Jeff, thanks for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Bill. I appreciate you guys having me. It's an honor to speak to you. I've followed you for a long time, and one of the OGs, as we would call them. So, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, I was been in sports professionally almost 30 years, and just I'm sure, growing up back east, it was a rite of passage since we're little kids, and I like to talk about it responsibly, and probably cost myself some money because I go after some of the sports books, go after some of the people in the space for being bullshitters, and that's what you do. So I'm really happy to have you on. And you know what I like about Jeff? I've never told you this. I like that you break a lot of stories too. So you actually break some unbelievable stories, and not only in the mob genre, but other things in the world of sports betting. And recently, they were talking about you on a show in Canada. I can't think of the name of the show right now. We've had the host on our show, but they were talking about you going after someone, and I said, "Wow, this is great content." Only because these people on not only Twitter, but it's more of the Instagram and TikTok and stuff like that. So maybe you want to tell Jon and our whole listening audience exactly what you do and what you've done in your life.
Yeah, I don't really even start. In fact, I would love to know the show you're talking about because I haven't heard about this. I would love to know what you're talking about. But no,
circles off.
Yeah. Been those guys.
Rob Pizzola. We've had him on the show a couple of years ago. But yeah, and I actually like their show. It's so hard to get to so many shows. I try to, football season, I do a dozen shows a week, so it's so hard to get to listen to other people's shows in the space. That's why, like, the off season, you don't even know it though, Jeff.
Yeah,
I watch your show I've watched your show every single week in the background, listening to your shows. You have a big audience too. Your YouTube page is huge, I think.
Yeah, that's the thing about the show that I created. I've been when you talked about gambling, like as a child, like I've been gambling since I was a child, and I've been doing this for so long. I haven't been in it 30 years, but I was on Twitter when it first started, right? I've been here since the beginning, and watching this business. To me, I miss the days of 5 dimes and betting into things and it kind of being a back room sort of thing, which I guess it's helped the community that it's not anymore. But I think it's also brought on a lot of bullshit as we talked about. But then I'd always had an interest in organized crime. And every year, Bill and Jon, I try to create something new, right? Like one year it's, I want to, create a new podcast or I want to add something to my house or something like that. And I'd always wanted to do something separate from sports. I'd always had interest in the mafia and organized crime. And I noticed that no one was really doing that sort of content. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to just try this. And, now 4 years later, we're, I'm one of the bigger shows in the market. So yeah, it's been fun. I try to kind of do both at this point, and it's busy and I have a lot going on, but it's allowed me to have a pretty cool life and I don't have to answer to a boss every day.
That's so great. It's so great. So recently, you've noticed more and more of these scammers, snake oil salesmen, charlatans on the social media world. One was like telling people how parlays are good and how you can. These kids have no background in sports betting, in any kind of analytics or anything, any kind of data. They just go with what they do with trying to sell something for $20 and hopefully to get these new kids that are in the sports betting space. I've seen you recently go after some of these people. Am I correct? And you just said enough's enough. And I love that.
Like, what I've learned is like really nothing anyone does anymore matters. I mention all the time that we live in like a bizarre dystopic world now where like 20 years ago, a lot of things would happen that happen now. And we'd think like, what a lunatic this person is. Like, why are we celebrating this type of person? Or like, why are we giving this person a platform? But, nowadays, the crazier, the more interest you get. And, I think as someone like you guys that have been around for a while, like I find it really destructive to have a platform and you're pushing out this complete nonsense that, look, Bill, you've been doing this as long as I've been alive. I've been doing this pretty long. I've been betting. I've never hit a 7-team parlay, like, ever. It's never happened. And I think, like, pushing that on people is really destructive. And I think what we're seeing now is, I don't even know of people that bet straight anymore. It's so dystopic to bet straight that, like, you don't even see it. I mean, none of these sports betting companies push it. None of these people that are quote unquote influencers push it. It's, how quickly can you get that 17-team parlay? Or, you look at, for instance, Bill, like this kid last night that literally assaulted a Major League Baseball player. He's now being celebrated in the media. And the more crazy you are, the bigger and more powerful and popular they're going to be.
Yeah, John said that last night. John texted me last night in the middle of the game. John and, his dad, Tony Orlando, legendary Tony Orlando, they've been to so many Dodger games. They were so close to the players, very close to Tommy Lasorda. So John texted me right away and said, this guy should be in jail. And it could have been vice versa, both ways. But John was really mad about that. I didn't know they were celebrating him today. John, did you?
Even Gronkowski put up a tweet. I guess he went to college with the guy or something. And he was like, I won't say he was defending him, but kind of like he was like, yeah, he was always crazy. He always was the kind of guy that did exactly what he would say he was going to do. And this was a perfect example of that. Like, the guy said they were going to defend the ball. Like, it's just stupid. Like, it's so crazy. They could have broken his wrist. They could have broken his arm. The other guy reaching up and pulling his arm up. Like, what? How do you even think about doing that at any sporting event?
John, what's interesting is there was a guy called Steve Bartman about 20 years ago that did that at a Cub game. He didn't even get as like involved, and he was essentially kind of ghosted. No one ever dealt with him again. He was like banished from society. This guy today, I mean, ESPN's writing these gleaming things about him. It's just like I said, I don't want to say it, but it's a weird world, man.
It's one thing to catch a foul ball, lean over too far. That's like an instinct. Like, that's just you're tracking the ball. You're not keeping track of where you are in relation to the leaning over the wall. That's like a normal thing. That I get. To literally hold Mookie's wrist, right? Pry his glove open while your buddy grabs his other arm is insanity. And take the ball. And the funny thing is, they didn't even end up with the ball. If you watch the clip, like, the ball ended up, like, so they didn't even get the ball out of it. Like, it's just crazy that you would do that.
Bill was talking about earlier with, like, frauds. I mean, I deal with it in, like, the mob genre. I've called out like 5 or 6 people that are charlatans that have come on, and they know that, if they say that they were from Brooklyn and they were connected to the mafia at one point, there are guys that have sold books doing that. And to me, like, rewriting history is completely ridiculous. And look, it's in everything, Bill. It's not sports betting. It's the mob genre, or, this or that. So it's a fraudulent world we live in.
Yeah, no, it really is. It's a fake, and the people that hide under anonymity on these sites and on these social media platforms. Which, listen, I have to take it sometimes too. I block and move. I don't get into fights with no one on the internet. These guys are all fake guys. They never say it to my face. They know where I am during the week here in Las Vegas doing shows, whether it's downtown at Circa, South Point. I'm on multiple shows. Like, not that. I'm no tough guy. I have Palmolive hands, trust me. But I'm a pretty big guy, and no one will ever say nothing to my face that wants to talk and hide behind that anonymity. I just block and move. That's all. Let them go back to their basement.
I've never had a negative interaction in person either. I think as you alluded to, the sad thing about the internet, like, it's a great thing for a lot of things. Everyone an opinion, and there are just certain people that really take an opinion and they go way too far with it. But you're right. No one's ever hurt me. No one's ever done anything. So, yeah, at the end of the day, it doesn't mean
you don't talk negatively about anyone that's active or anyone that's a current member.
No.
You don't talk about them even like that much. So how can that? You have the balls to ask questions, and you've had guys like Sammy the Bull on your show, and guys that are big in the space that everyone knows. Recently, you talked about John Gotti's grandkids who got in some trouble. So you really don't talk negatively where someone should come at you, and you just try to you more do it in the sense of being a reporter in the space and talking about the space from a reporter. You don't claim to be a made member of a family. That's not you at all. And are your roots, are you Albanian?
Oh, yeah, I'm Albanian. Yeah.
Albanian.
Yeah. So like I said, for me, Bill and John, it was really just an interest that I had, and it kind of just took off. And I feel like whenever you get into something, you obviously want to treat it like a profession. And I look, doing this as long as I've done, like I've made a lot of connections. I talk to people in the street. I'm not going to lie. I would never say who they are, but I think if you're doing it long enough and you don't talk to people, then you're not doing it right. But my goal is to just let people tell their stories. I don't agree with some of the things that some of these people do. I don't agree with any of it really, but I'm not judging them. I'm just trying to let them tell their story. It's also got me to a point where like Sammy the Bull, he's not a big fan of mine. A lot of those guys aren't big fans of mine because I think one thing I've learned with people like him and others is they want to tell a certain type of story and they're always the hero. And I've looked into the court documents. I've looked into these indictments, and I know what's truth and what's not. And I think to me, like, I don't want to see people rewrite history. And I think the thing about Bill that I've noticed is even in the mob genre, there are sycophants, right? There are people that, I know of people that have literally licked the floor of the Ravenite Social Club because John Gotti once walked on it. I mean, there's some sick people out there that put people in pedestals. And, I've dealt with negativity at times, but as you alluded to, I'm just a reporter. I don't really put my opinion in on it. I put it out there and really just let you decide.
Yeah, that's great. No, I tell you what, out of all that mob genre stuff in the off season for me, I don't comment to you, but I watch every show. Like I said,
that's very nice.
Even now, I watch the shows and let me ask you. I seen you do one thing. I was upset. I was like, oh no. You said you might cancel the channel or cancel, like you was like I was like no.
It's not that I guess I'm just at the point, Bill, where like to me every show has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and I always said that eventually I want to do something else, but I've also gotten to the point where I have such a fan base that people want to see it, and there's enough content for me to always do mob content. I think the issue is the mob is not as pronounced as it once was. But I go back and forth. There are days where I love doing it. There are days where, like I don't really talk about this much, but like my life has changed in certain levels. Like I can't go to the San Gennaro feast like I would want to. I have to watch I'm talking about people that are active criminals. I'm not dealing with, and I stay where I'm at, but like, I'm not going to go to the belly of the beast. I'm not going to walk around, Bensonhurst, Brooklyn and think that I can just do those things. So, it's a little different, but I enjoy it. It's fun. And I just try to, be nice to everybody. I don't put my personal opinion in on it.
Now, before that, you were with Portnoy and you were with Barstool. Am I correct? How long were you there, and how did you get involved with him?
Yeah, I worked at Barstool 2 different times. It was really just kind of a random thing. I been in the space for a while. This was back before PASPA was even passed, back in, what was that, 2017, 2018. Yep. I had been putting out videos, and I was a college basketball guy, and I was dealing with the guy there that's pretty high up. I was giving him picks. I was doing pretty well. And he said to me at one point, he saw I was doing stuff. He said, would you ever want to come in and speak to Portnoy? And I said, absolutely. I don't know where I'd fit, but, I'd love to talk to him. So I went to New York, and he kind of said to me, there's not much we can do until this all gets passed. And we kind of stayed in touch. And once PASPA got passed, they hired me. It was right around coronavirus. I worked there. I left. I then came back, and then I left again. It's been kind of a back and forth thing. But Bill, one thing I realized about doing all this that I do, people like me, people like you, John, all of us, I can't work for one company. There's too many ways for me to make money out there, and I can't just work for one. And I love Barstool. They did a lot of cool things for me, but I'm 35 now. I'm not necessarily a totally young. I have a house. I bought a house. I have, things I got to pay for. So to me, I need to be able to earn all sorts of different ways. And I like owning what I have, and it's my intellectual property. And
that's nice.
I like just being on my own and having that ability,
How about
There's no ceiling. There's no ceiling that way.
How about the sports books where you are? you had some great sports books.
Yeah.
They had some unbelievable sign-up bonuses in the beginning. I was going back and forth to Atlantic City all the time because they were giving like 50% sign-up bonuses on ridiculous amounts of money. Do you find that you're able to play at a lot of the sports books in Pennsylvania? Are they, the DraftKings and FanDuels of the world? Are they still pretty active there? Are they? I don't even know. Like every single jurisdiction has their own promotional things. Are you finding that still over there in Pennsylvania?
We were one of the first, as you know. I mean, New Jersey and Delaware, they were kind of the first. And Pennsylvania, I mean, we've had it for years now. We have literally everyone. Look, there's good and bad with all of them. I've noticed though, and it doesn't even take a bunch of money, Bill. Like if you win consistently in even one sport, they'll even limit like someone like me. I don't bet. I'm not betting tens of thousands of dollars a game. So, look, with legalization comes regulation. These are businesses at the end of the day. I was always in the thought, and I always appreciated you talking about, people, the dressmakers, right? The guys that, are going to limit you after certain times. And look, I think that's wrong, and even when I started, I mean, you could bet a bookmaker, you could bet all sorts of money and they'd never knock you. Maybe they'd, cut you down a little bit, but they were never going to not take your action. But no, I've never really ran into that. They're still pretty good. There's a bunch of options and you still do what you have to do.
Cool. No, I just, at the beginning, they were giving ridiculous bonuses, and then they kept on, if you lost money, they kept on giving dang on the carrot. I notice now that they don't really do that anymore because they're paying all these celebrities and ex-athletes millions of dollars, but they actually took it away from the customers, the bonus money, like they used to have, at least in New Jersey. I didn't know how Pennsylvania was. And to be real blunt, they actually limit regular people, regular guys that are, just because they win on someone's shift. I try to tell these managers and owners, and I say owners, the guys all the way up top, I try to tell them, you guys, your risk group, you're not involved in because of your 7-figure salary now, you don't get involved. They're actually doing the opposite of what you want to do. They're not taking volume, because I know guys that were limited for winning a tennis bet, but yet lose 6 figures a year in the NFL to other companies or street bookmakers. So it's happening more and more. But that doesn't bother me as much as these kids, the under 30 crowd on TikTok and, selling games and selling. Now, listen, I'll be the first one to tell you, I sell, but I sell on a total different thing. I'm very transparent. Every week there's a write-up. Every week, Mike, wins and losses, and we've, destroyed them over the last 5 years. Go ahead, Jeff.
Here's the thing. You're a guy who's been doing it for a long time. You've had your rite of passage. I believe I've had my rite of passage. I've been doing this a long time. I've worked at all sorts of places. I've been in this space a long time. I've proven that I know what I'm doing. So have you. You've been doing it probably double as long as I have. There are individuals, though, that have 1 3-month run or a month or two run. Companies. Look, I've dealt with Dub Club. Okay, they've blown me up. Okay, I come work with us. Come work with us. I said, send me money up and I'll work with you. We don't do that. Well, then I'm not interested. Like I don't work for it out of contract. I just don't. I'm not hard up. I don't need to do anything for you. But what I think they do is they find these young kids, these kids that, have some interest in player props and things like that. And maybe they won on a Discord for 20 or 30 people. And I think they just find a bunch of them kids and figure, if we can sell these people small amounts of service at a small amount of money, they'll pay for it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I need to see a long period of you having success. Look, if I know that you have certain information that I can't get, look, that's obviously something you'll pay for. But as you alluded to, when you pay Bill, you get something. When you pay me, okay, I don't believe there's anyone on the planet that knows more about college basketball than me. It's just that true. That's the truth. I put a lot of time into it. I do the work, so you don't have to necessarily. So I think if you can throw that return there, then I understand paying. But these kids that win for a month on TikTok and think that they can start charging, it's pathetic. And you mentioned sports books, them paying all these celebrities. Nowadays, Bill, as long as you're an attractive person, you'll get money. That's all you really need. So it's and look at what these companies. You look at this individual recently, this woman that was, I don't know if you want to get into that. Like they ran into an issue with that because she had a quick audience. She then tried to market to that audience, and it didn't work out.
I seen your videos on that. Very, very, very good. You were like telling people, don't mess with crypto. I seen your videos on that. Fantastic. and that's a whole different area where the girl, got caught up in something. I don't think her intent was malicious, but she winded up in the end, she wound up messing up, and she lost her sponsorship. So, but it doesn't matter. In a year from now, she'll be making another six-figure contract with someone.
So the thing is, and if the biggest thing I would tell any person, because I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on criminality and law at this point. I've talked to many people. The biggest problem Americans have is they don't know what they can and can't talk about. They don't understand things like the SEC. You can't just talk about stuff. You can't just pump stocks, build them up and then just sell them. You can't do stuff like that, right? And look, my father always told me there's a lot of good kids in prison, right? There's a lot of kids that maybe they just make a mistake. They don't understand something. I think she did something. She saw some money that she could make, and she didn't really think about, hey, am I doing something illegal here?
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, in a year, no one will remember it.
Yeah.
In a few
no
months.
one will remember. John introduced me to Dana White. So we went out and played blackjack a couple times. So John, also a lot of those kids around John, I say kids, John, because they're 20 some years old.
Yeah.
One was asking me a barrage of questions. Now, if I'll be real blunt, I didn't know who that was, that kid. And I find out he made like $7 million last year. Selling for what company? He worked for one of those picks.
For Prize Picks.
Prize Picks. Which, to be real honest with you, John, I think I told you there, I didn't know the kid. Good-looking kid, young kid, made $7 million last year. I was like, what? But I didn't. I looked into Prize Picks a little bit. I think it's parlays, it's crazy shit. That
Right.
Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
They don't gauge on what you know about sports betting. It's okay. How many followers do you have? How many downloads do you get? How many eyes do you have? How many views do you have on Instagram? They don't. There are people that are promoting Prize Picks that don't know the difference between over under and a straight.
That's right.
Like
that's right.
That's just a fact. It's not about. They don't look at you and say, "Hey, did you bet reverses when you were a child?" They don't do that.
They don't even know what reverses are. You're right.
No, they don't know what a parlay card is. They don't know what a lightning bet is. Like, that's one of the things that I take pride in, Bill. Like, I grew up, around people that were betting a lot of money. They knew what they were talking about. They were gamblers, right? You learn, you play cards, you play baccarat. Like, I could play every casino game. It's nowadays, it's just how big is your audience? And that's
100%.
Really kind of the
destruction. Yeah. No, they're these content creators have their own cemeteries. I like to say that. They really do. You're not going to hear about it too much, but yeah.
You ever made $7 million pushing a sports book?
$7 million this kid made.
Yeah.
I was wondering why, John, that night too, he had a swing of like six figures at blackjack. I never said this publicly or anything. That night when we were watching him play, and we were, let's be honest with you. I was watching, John was involved playing too with Dana and this kid. That night, he had like a six-figure swing at the blackjack table. Let me tell you something. I don't care how much money you make. You can go broke with six-figure swings at a negative EV game like that, just firing 5,000 and 10,000 a hand. But
for sure,
he's a nice kid. He just
great guy.
Nice kid. But Jeff, let me ask you, where can we find you? What's your did I give the right name to promote your podcast on YouTube?
The Sit Down with Jeff Nadu. I'm on all the platforms. I'm even on TikTok, Bill. You can follow me on TikTok. I'm on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify. Really no nonsense. I get right into it. I tell a story for 20, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and jump off. Very simple.
Jeff, I'm definitely a new fan. I'm going to follow you everywhere, but I do want to set the record straight from something you said at the top of this show. I've hit two 17 parlays for the UFC, baby.
Good for you. That's
Jeff, he's honest about that's why this show is good. He is honest about this. Part of the year he lives in a homeless shelter, but it doesn't matter. It does. He's honest about hitting the parlays, and he has hit some, but it's
and I also guaranteed that the Dodgers would sweep the Yankees, so that should show you I don't know what I'm talking about. So.
That's why the show's good, though. It goes back and forth.
If you're going to the 17 parlay, it's going to be likely UFC. I mean, UFC is great, by the way. I love UFC. I watch it all the time, and it's great. But yeah,
have you been to a fight?
Have never been. I've always wanted to go to one. I've never been.
Okay. Verbally binding. verbally binding. Let's figure out a date. You come to Vegas, and
I have to get
we
there.
go.
I
to
got
a
to see
fight.
Bill. I got to see.
Yeah,
Bill.
no, we
come
want you
see
to
him.
come out here and you know, and John has great connections with Dana, so you know, you guys will come out. And let me ask you last thing, not for you, actually for John. John, do you think we can have your dad on Jeff's podcast talking about any kind of mafia things his whole life that he had to deal with?
100%.
Some of them old school guys, they don't want to talk.
Well, no, but this Tony Orlando,
You know, he's got happy stories. He's got good fun stories. Yeah.
Now,
With
let me get this
Frank
straight.
and
John, your father's the guy that he was a doo-wop singer, right?
yes, in the beginning, yes.
Wow, that's amazing.
and he got, you know, he had his own show. He had his own show when there was only 3 networks: ABC, CBS, NBC. 35 million viewers a week. First guest, my guy. I love Jackie Gleason.
Yeah.
Jackie Gleason was his first guest, but he hosted telethon with Jerry Lewis for so many years. He was the guy. Jerry would say, "Let's go to New York, Tony." And Tony would host. You know, he's been around everyone. Great stories about Frank Sinatra. The Frank Sinatra, Tony Orlando stories that Tony has told us.
Jeff, is your mom still around?
My mother is around, yeah. My father died, but my mom's still around, yeah.
And our condolences. Your dad just passed, right?
Appreciate that. Yeah, this year, yeah.
Me too. I lost my mom last year, so I feel your pain on that one. But if you ask your mom, "Hey, Mom, did you used to watch Tony Orlando and Dawn their show?" She will absolutely say yes.
She will flip out because all moms in that era, like, she will flip out.
I would love to, I mean, not even on like organized crime levels, but I would love to speak to you because your dad, I mean, I'm guessing he's from the New York area. I mean, you almost had to be, not around to not run into those people, but
he works the Copa all the time.
No shit. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So he worked.
His uncle Carmine was the doorman at the Copa.
Oh shit. Wow.
Yeah. John had me recently. I'm going to show you this photo. They had me recently. This is Jon Orlando, myself. There's Frankie Valli and Tony Orlando. Yeah. Wow. We recently went and seen him and we're backstage with him. And you know, the stories are unbelievable. The Orlando stories, the things he's been on our show a couple times, and I've been with him many times. And he retired just a few months ago, and I went to some of his last shows and just legendary stuff. But he's got some great stories, New York area, like you said. Just to have him on would be nice. You know, Tony will jump on with you. Am I right, John?
Yeah, 100%. We'll coordinate it for sure. Just say when.
I would love to speak to somebody like that. I mean, I years ago, I don't know if your father probably knew him. There's a guy, Jerry Blavitt. I don't know if you ever heard that name.
Oh, sure. From Atlantic City.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say Atlantic City. For Philadelphia, I think Jerry Blavitt.
Yeah, but he was down in Atlantic City. He had a club in Margate, which is closed. Yeah, Memories. Yep, absolutely. Yeah. He passed away a year or two ago. And I know he used to talk very, like he was in like the 50s and 60s. He was big in that whole, music scene. And I would love to have talked to all those guys.
Tony definitely knows Jerry Blavitt. Definitely. Yeah. He knew who he was. Yeah. Well, great, Jeff. We really appreciate you coming on. And we formed a new friendship here with us three. That's fantastic.
Absolutely. I love it. And as I said, it's an honor to come on and talk to you guys. And, I'll come out and see you soon, Bill. You got to take
anytime
to some restaurant. We'll see.
Anytime. Let us know. Good deal. John, here's the deal with me. You don't know this yet, but I'm going to tell you. So if the Yankees win tonight, I am getting in a car tomorrow and driving to LA to go see David Gilmour, Pink Floyd. I love Pink Floyd. To go see David Gilmour tomorrow night at the Hollywood Bowl. But Friday night I will be going to the Dodgers game. So I don't have a ticket yet.
Way.
But I'm gonna buy a ticket. I'm just gonna buy a ticket and go. So I wanted to let you know I'll be there if I just want to go to a game 6 where they can lock it up. Even though I'm a back East New York guy, I would love to see the Dodgers win and be there at game 6 when they win. Wouldn't that be
amazing? Yeah, that would be amazing.
So anyway, that's something I'm doing. What else? You got anything else going on, John? What else you doing?
Man, just
Dodgers.
These Dodgers.
Hey, John, let's shout out.
I know what you're gonna say right now. I know what you're gonna say.
Matt Kelly's family.
Yes.
Matt passed. We all went to his house that Sunday, and Matt was in good spirits, and he was so happy to have us there. And and his wife sent me a text. Thank you, Bill. He went downhill real fast after that party.
Yeah.
So he kept himself going, to that party. And then last night, I couldn't believe I'm watching the Yankee Dodger game, and they were doing a stand up for cancer. And one of the signs the cameraman had was Matt Kelly. I text you, I said, John, is that the same Matt Kelly? Of course it is.
Yes.
And cancer affects so many people. Last night, when you see all the players, they come out of the dugout. Every player everyone has someone that's affected by cancer.
The outpouring of love that the production families have showed at from the Golden Knights, from the Raiders, from
the Dodgers.
ESPN, Tom Brady Boxing, all the affiliates. Yeah, I mean, he's been featured and honored from Omaha to LA to Vegas. It's really been incredible giving this guy it's funny. Matt was such a humble person. I don't think he knew that people loved him. I don't think he realized while he was alive how this would affect so many people. I sat in that hospice room with him, Bill. I've known Matt 10 years. His friend Cody, who's been production and knows from Omaha, has known him 20 years. There's other guys in there. The equipment manager for the Golden Knights has known him for 1 year, and we're all crying and brokenhearted just the same. It's very hard to affect someone you've known for 1 year and they act the same as if you've known them 20 years.
Yeah. Life is so precious. Guys so much younger than us, even.
Yeah. Just a great guy. He's going to be missed. I'm absolutely gutted from this. It really hit me hard. It's been a rough week. I mean, I love this guy. He's what you want. He's like you, Bill. He's everything you'd want in a friend, and you're the same way.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, John, you got us both crying here, Bill. So this is fun.
I appreciate you.
I knew you were going to bring this up, so I had this handy for today.
Yeah. I appreciate you. I appreciate you introducing him to me, and I seen him every week at the studio, and it was nice to get to know him. I'm so glad. And shout out to his family again.
One last thing, if you knew Matt Kelly, or you feel like you know Matt Kelly through the content, we are going to have a memorial service for him on November the 9th in Las Vegas at the Space. Mark Chinook has been nice enough to donate. He owns that venue, and he's been nice enough to just donate the venue. He worked with Matt a lot at the Golden Knights game. So, Bill, I don't know if you're in town on the 9th, but if you want, from 12 to 4, we're going to do something special for Matt and honor him. Brian Hopkins is going to perform, and it's going to be a nice. Matt didn't want a bunch of people sitting around being miserable. He wanted a party, so
Saturday
obviously be respectful, and we'll honor him. And anyone that wants to get up and say a few words is welcome to do so. And then Brian Hopkins is going to perform a little bit, and we'll just hang out, all his friends and family.
All right, John, really appreciate it. I know you have to go. We're going to bring Randy McKay in for the last 15 minutes. All right, the second half of the show here. Let's bring in Randy McKay. Hey, Randy. Randy, no hat today. Usually you got one of your hats on, Circa or the Lucky Masters hat that you won 6 figures with that I got you. None of that stuff
right here.
Oh, it is a Masters hat. Yeah, that's the new one, too. 2024. I'll have a new one for you this year, too. So anyway, Randy, a good week. You having a good season. Really good compliments. People, when I'm out, that notice me from the podcast right away say, hey, Randy McKay is great on there. So everyone really liking you. I'm sure you're building up some new followers, hopefully. I kind of tweet little segments out there. And you had a good – I'll tell you what. I think we got robbed with the Giants. I had 7 with the Giants. Oh, my God. Missing a 2-point conversion. So 9-9 at the half. So many different – I usually don't cry over spilt milk. I had Washington. I won. I had over in the Baltimore game. I won. I mean, I'm not – I expect to win every game, I guess. Yeah. Matter of fact, I do. But, I just thought we deserved a little bit better. But you had a great Rams team. You picked the Rams. You had some good ones. But the Giants just bothered me. Pittsburgh is not that good. I'll just tell you, they're not that good. I'm looking to maybe bet a season win under on them now. Rest of the season, I just looked at their schedule. But Randy, I'd like you to give us the games so I can tweet them out. I'd like you to give us the games ahead of time and just whatever picks you have, and then we will go over each play. Is it good?
Sounds good. Yeah, again, like unlucky not to would have had a little prop here with a little broom here if I would have got that Giants game for the sweep, but didn't happen. But I got three sides and some teasers. So first pick is Denver plus 9.5 or 10.
Okay.
The second one is Indianapolis plus 5.5 or 6, but that's one down. Might not get 6 now. And then the New York Giants back on the bandwagon. Don't have to watch it. Don't recommend plus 3.5 or 4.
Wow. So, did that game go to 4? Wow. That game was 3 for a while out here.
Yeah.
So interesting. Yeah, you would think it would. All right. So tell us the reasons why. Let's start with the first one. Before we get to these ugly Giants, Denver Broncos. What do you think there?
Okay, so we got Baltimore. This is again going back to our sandwich spot. They played Cleveland last week. Now they come in against Denver, non-divisional opponent. They have Cincinnati and Pittsburgh up next 2 games. So a little bit, maybe not looking full effort into that. We've seen that done before. Harbaugh is a very good coach, one of the top coaches in the NFL. But their defense is pretty banged up still. Denver can control you with the run game. Very good run game. Young quarterback that doesn't make mistakes is key here. If he makes mistakes, we'll probably lose our bet. If he keeps it clean, we'll win our bet. And that's pretty much any NFL game. Unfortunately, the Giants didn't keep it clean. They gave up that big punt return.
Yes.
Cost us a perfect thing, but and this defense for Denver is very strong, matches up well against the Baltimore run game. So I also kind of lean under as well. The totals go in the opposite direction. We might see 47 on the total. They're open like 42. So kind of a runway total.
Yeah, so, up to 46.5, over 15 I'm looking at in the screen. Also, there's 9.5s out here in Vegas. So there you go. Okay, good. So you're looking at the under a little bit, 47 being the key number. Look, if it gets to 47, you like the under.
Yeah, too bad John wasn't here like he was last week when I gave out Cleveland on the money line.
Yes.
This one kind of correlates a little bit. So if you want to also play Denver plus the spread under the total, looks like a pretty good bet here. So, but
nice.
The main play here is Denver plus 9.5.
All right. And what was your second play?
Indianapolis plus 5.5 or 6. And this is a rematch of a game 2 years ago that I'll never forget. And maybe you won't either, Crack, man. You remember when the Vikings were trailing 30-0.
Unbelievable.
Time.
What a sick game. 30-0.
Against this Indianapolis squad, of course, some different personnel there.
Yeah.
But I like the move here to Joe Flacco, one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the league. Like I said on many other programs, I cannot believe this guy isn't a starter over what we have to watch. You get a veteran guy here going into the tough environment, but the Vikings defense has allowed to blitz a lot, and Flacco can take advantage of that. And they make the move from the young kid Richardson to Flacco because they want to make the playoffs here. Colts team is more healthy, especially on the offensive line. And the Vikings just had to just traded from Jacksonville for a new left tackle. So we'll see how he is. Robinson, that's going to hurt him. And they got the big guy back on their defense, Colts, Buckner. So this is going to be a tough matchup. I can see scores trading back and forth. Close game, getting points here. Looks like a good bet with the Colts.
Gotcha. And you're right. There's a solid 4 on this Washington Giants game. Now, you can get 4 out here in 5-6 spots. I see the circa, and then offshore there's 4s. So Giants at home, old division rival game, Giants plus 4. Why is that? Why do you like them?
All right, this is a rematch spot from week 2, a game the Giants should have won Washington, but their field goal kicker got hurt. They lost 21-19, I believe was the final score. and these teams know each other real well. And I like to come back with a home underdog in this spot. And the second matchup, tough loss, like we have mentioned with the Giants on Monday Night Football, a game which against the spread, they probably should have covered, but unfortunately they didn't. But came out of that game pretty unscathed. Where Washington team, look at their win last week, miracle win. With the,
but I don't know if it was a miracle win, but I don't know why I watched some of that game. It looks like Washington was the better team there, even on paper. So, but hey, there you go. You got to.
I had the whole game till the end. Bears scored late in the game. And then they couldn't miss the 2-point conversion to make it easy for us. We had to, hit the Hail Mary to win the bet. So,
I had them +3. I had them +1.5, and I had a money line. So they had some really good prices out here in Vegas. One of the advantages of living in Vegas, we had some good play. The South Point had 3 on Saturday night, and then Schefter came out and released that Daniels was going to play. And I snagged another 3 there, which I've had bet twice during the week. And all right, so what do you have? Because we're going to talk about something that's a little scary to talk about. So before we get to election betting, let's talk teasers. What do you got on the teaser page on this week?
So there's 3 options available. Unfortunately, the other one moved up to +3, so you can't really take it now. But I think there's so Cincinnati down 1.5 against the Raiders. We've seen Antonio Pierce. I don't know. He just doesn't get it on the sidelines. Every team knows this now. When you're trailing by 14 points in the fourth quarter and you score a touchdown, you go for 2.
That's right.
He kicks the extra point, makes it a 7-point game. That's a 3-4% mistake. What does that cost a person in our gambling world? What does that cost?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is. It's something that all the coaches should know now. Everyone has an analytics department, and even though the fans in the sports book are like, "What are you crazy? You're down by 14." They just they don't understand the analytics behind it. All right, so Cincinnati's on one leg. Give us another leg.
Teasing up the Seattle Seahawks here. We've seen a big steam kind of play on the Rams. Getting this team at home +7.5. I don't see the Rams blowing them out here. That game can go either way. The Rams have kind of owned Seattle in the last few years, but getting +7.5 at home, still with a decent offense and a good home field. Got to take the Seahawks here. And then the third one is Philadelphia down to 1.5. Jacksonville, like I just mentioned, traded their left tackle. So they're kind of sellers here. Eagles playing better, getting us money the last few weeks. I've given them out on this podcast. Going to stick with them, but only in a teaser option.
Only in a teaser.
Not straight up laying the 7.5. So that's a teaser
-1.5.
The other one was Dallas up to 8.5, but I think that line's moved to 3.
As of right now, yeah.
I would
it's 2.5 at many sports books though. South Point win. But it's 3 dog 20 or 25 at Circa, and I'm looking at stations and DraftKings +3 -18. So Dallas would be another option with the 6. I understand. All right,
that's the one I like the least because
the least. All right, let's take it out of the official
total.
Let's take it out of the equation. Let's go to election betting odds. Now, this is not who we like. It's not who our party is. This is based on the numbers. I'm going to give you a live number here. Looks like I'll say 2-1. Donald Trump is 2-1 over Kamala Harris. Take back 178 on Kamala Harris. Our buddy Fez put a text up about this today. And the same situation here. This has nothing to do with what we like. It's just where the value is. Now, if the swing states are pretty close to even, well, then how can Kamala Harris be plus almost 2-1? This is what Fez said. Fez actually took one of your tweets and retweeted it. Did you see that?
Yep, I seen that
Yeah.
because I retweeted his, and I'm going to explain in a little bit about that.
Okay. So Fez said, latest update, upset prediction, Harris wins and certainly has value at plus 2-1. For the last month, I've been telling all people Trump will win and Trump will as a small favorite, but based on the current conditions, I think Harris can sweep the blue wall winning states, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. Well, Pennsylvania is the big one too. So Pennsylvania takes forever to recount. As it's decided by such a small amount. Harris wins the popular vote. He's got about 100,000 views on that. I just posted lines last week on these from Spank Odds. I posted the lines and the states, the individual states, and it got a lot of views. I had 50,000 views last I seen. All I did was post a simple Spank Odds tweet showing the odds on each state. Yeah, here it is. And yeah, so anyway, certain states actually surprised me. Here in Nevada, where Kamala Harris was minus 150, 160, Trump's now minus 180. Now, maybe Fez is right. Maybe the value's that way. Not to say that I'm voting that way, but maybe that's the way. I got to be blunt. I cannot believe the odds so high. But the Trump campaign has done some really good, I guess, TV commercials. This is what, Randy, I don't follow politics that much. I don't watch anything. I'm not a CNN guy. I'm not a Fox News guy. I don't watch it. It's a lot of malarkey back and forth. Well, I shouldn't use it. That's Biden's word. But also my grandfather used to always use that word. A bunch of malarkey. So I don't follow it either way, but I know that the odds have shifted way in Trump's favor. So I'll let you take it over from here.
Okay, first of all, I'm a historian. I have a history degree and teaching degree from Mayville State University in North Dakota. So I do follow this a little bit, and I follow it mainly because of the betting. And what I want to emphasize here, you cannot bet this in the U.S. markets.
That's right.
Okay. So if you're looking to bet in the U.S. markets, you won't be able to. You can only bet these on PPH accounts or offshore accounts, which, if you want to give your Heritage plug right now.
Yeah. Heritage offers odds. So, we talked about this in the past. I was just looking on, what I was looking on? Interactive Brokers, because someone told me Interactive Brokers, which is a company here, had some kind of election betting, was the only company that offered election betting, and they are here in the United States. But anyway, let's go back to Heritage. heritagesports.eu is offering election betting, and I'm going to try to get the live betting, the odds of it, but one of the only sports books that are offering election betting. I noticed on Spank Odds, even though he has a lot of the offshore sites, he really didn't have too many. He had maybe 4 was on there, 4 of them out of the dozens of sites. So election betting also available on Heritage, heritagesportsbook.eu. And a couple guys in the comments said that, they only do Bitcoin transactions, and of course I immediately went and checked that, and that's just not the case from what I know. So the management said if they want to have different payment options, they do have them available. So anyway, Heritage Sportsbook, been around 30 years, and I'll get to what their current odds are in 1 second. But go ahead, continue, Randy. I never knew you had that degree, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. But I've already cashed on no Biden for president, so I've already made a pretty nice profit on the election. So I have Trump at plus 110 from before this big movement. Of course, when they announced Harris, I bet that some. And pre-election, here's where I disagree with Fezzik. If you want to bet Harris now, that's a mistake. Because if you have live lines, and they'll post live lines at these sites, during the last election, I got Joe Biden at over 4-1 on the live line. And I had positions on Trump, so I couldn't lose either way. But if you want to bet Harris now, the best way to bet on her would be to win the popular vote, which is pretty cheap right now. It's down to like 180.
Right.
More than likely, the outcome will be she wins the popular vote and loses the electoral college, like we've been mentioning. I
So
also
why do you think, though, Randy? Why do you think automatically that Trump's going to come way out and it's going to be leaning so much that you can get better odds than now on Harris? What's the reason why you think that?
okay, like the election before, Florida is always counted first. So
That's
Florida
Trump
was
country.
counted first, and they saw that Trump had actually a pretty big lead in Pennsylvania as well, and that's
Right.
when the live line went to him at $5.
Yeah, when I
And
went to bed that night, he was 7-1 favorite at in England, which is the Betfair in England. He was a big favorite in England. I went to bed like 1 in the morning. He was like 7-1. So yeah, you're correct. So you think that because those votes are counted on the East Coast there first, that Trump will be ahead and you can get a better price on the.
that's what it showed. I'm just going by what it showed last election.
Yep.
Last election was one of the bigger live events on these offshore sports books. So if you have that option, I'm recommending if you want to bet Harris, which I don't know if I'm going to. I don't know if I'm going to take back any of my position on Trump. But if you have that option, definitely look at that because you'll get a way better price than Harris right now.
Okay.
Election, I have really good bets here. I have Trump to win Arizona minus 140.
He's way higher than that now.
$3 now.
That's unbelievable. It's amazing with the California people that have moved to places like Nevada, like Arizona, but yet he has risen to be that big of a favorite from 140 to 3-1. I think that's, again, this is coming from someone that doesn't really know much about betting on the election. So why would that be, though, just knowing the population swung like that?
Yeah, it was just my read from other people that I talked to and different things I read. I bet him to win Arizona, Georgia, and Nevada, all at pretty cheap prices. Now I got really good bets, but I don't recommend any state prices right now. You can also bet him to win each individual state on some of these offshore books, and he's been way over bet on all those. Even the swing states, Michigan's like a coin toss right now, and that's a real close one. He's a good favorite to win Wisconsin, which surprises me a little bit at about a 150, 160 before I've seen this too. And them are, like Fez said, them 3 states up there, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. It could come down to who's the next president. And
but you're saying don't bet, if you're betting on Kamala Harris, wait until the live market based on Florida and East Coast results coming in, and you should get a higher price based on previous elections. Am I understanding that right?
I believe you'll probably get 100 cents better than plus
wow.
180. Or you might even get 280.
Wow. Okay.
That's my prediction.
Okay.
I'm going out there. That's what happened last election, and I can see that trend happening again. No.
Well, good deal. Good deal. So let me ask you, last thing I'll say to you. You said Florida, easy win for Trump. Well, I don't like laying this kind of odds on anything. But I seen at one point, let me see what the spank odds had there. He was minus at Florida, he was minus at one time 12-1, now minus closer to 20-1. But if he can't lose Florida, why not just take a free paycheck? Or is it something like betting a money line on a football game that can, you definitely can lose?
Yeah, you never know. Of course, Florida has controlled their elections. They're not, I'm going to make a little joke here, not run by Don King Promotions.
Ah, right.
Ron DeSantis has done a very good job. And based on past results, I wouldn't take that flyer. But there's other states that, Trump maybe has a shot on. Virginia, maybe. He's pretty big.
But that's taking a big dog price there. Taking over 5-1.
That would be one I'd look at. And there's maybe a couple for Kamala that she can maybe take, but I just don't see it because these states seem like they have their election process done. Each state has a different election process. That's why people are mad here. If it was all done, nice and easily like Florida does it, where it's done the night before, there'd be no problem probably. But unfortunately, not all states handle it this way. They still use the old method, and that's what gets people mad and thinking it's rigged and everything.
So I took a screenshot 17 days ago. The popular vote winner, 2024 USA presidential election. I'm just reading it like it's worded for a reason. Kamala Harris was -3 to 1, now down to -184. So the popular vote, though, you think she will win, and laying that would be also a profitable decision. Is that right?
That would be another option if you want to bet her, because, all these California votes, which that's a state Trump isn't going to win. She's a big favorite in that state. He did campaign there, which surprised me. He came to Colorado here as well, but I don't them two states, even though he campaigned here and had huge crowds. But
gotcha.
But yeah, that's why he'll win, or she'll win the popular vote, because of the bigger states like New York and California.
Good deal. Good deal. Anything else there, Randy? Or are we all finished?
Now we're halfway through the football season. Boy, it goes.
No, I went with the election. I meant with the election.
Oh, the election.
We're gonna get someone will wind up yelling at you or me anyway, or something.
Hopefully not. If you want to yell at me, that's fine. But as far as the election goes,
you're a Democrat. You're a Republican. I know either way they'll say something. So, but good deal. All right. Well, listen, you've had a good season here for the first half of the season here on Wise Kracks. Continue that, and look forward to it. We'll see you next week.
Hopefully there isn't any funky business after the election, is what I'm kind of worried about.
Oh, give me an example. What do you mean funky business?
I was going to tell people, hopefully you stock up on groceries and stuff if you're in some of those bigger cities and stuff, because you never know. These could get looted, and
Jesus,
hell could break.
I never even think stuff like that. Wow, that's good advice though in some of the big cities. Yeah, you're right. You're right. All right, Randy, we'll see you next week.
All right.
Good. See all you guys. See all you guys on Wise Kracks. Thanks for joining us. Please like and subscribe. Thanks, guys.